portion of CSR. My name is Sarah Sugitan, and in this show we have Sheena Iratan and Janine Michelle Cavato teaching us about art and also art workshops because it's summer and a lot of kids are going through art workshops. You have an art workshop that's ongoing right now, Ira. Yes. And when will that finish? It's already started, right?
We will culminate on April 30. So it's just a 10-day workshop.
Yeah, so that's in a few days time almost.
Yeah.
2 weeks? 2 weeks? 2 weeks more. And then
there will be a break and then we'll come back.
All right. And you work with Leo DV Art Learning Center. Can you tell us more about an art learning center?
We just opened. I'll invite you to the open house on Saturday. It's the entire afternoon. We have art materials there, care of Lira, Joto. So it's a very good art medium. And then we have food. Of course, we have a lot of art activities during the day. So what Leo the V offers is art parties.
Art parties.
It's new in the Philippines, I think. Yeah. Instead of them just having birthday parties that they could just play, we have crafts and arts. We teach them there.
But the party will be held.
The party will be held in the learning center.
In the learning center.
We also have a number of programs for older people, kids at heart.
Kids at heart. Older people like us.
Especially those who get stuck in traffic. So between 5 to 8,
okay.
we teach them art, basic and advanced drawing. So we have a number of artists that are our in-house artists who do the teaching.
You know, that's very good because a lot of people in Metro Manila get stuck in traffic at 5 to 8 p.m. So instead of going directly...
Productive
with do something productive.
Do something productive with the time that you'll get stuck in... Rather than get stuck in traffic. I mean, in a couple of hours' time, it will be over. Anyway. I mean, the traffic will have eased up. So it's good that you... And you release the energy or pent-up emotions. I think it's
work.
From work. From yappies and all of that. You know, life is really changing right now with technology, with... you know, music is always being pirated, downloaded, etc. Does that affect, for example, painting and art? I mean, do you have examples of students cutting and pasting and then submitting those projects to you? Or is technology not affecting art education in a negative way?
For me, it's not. It also depends on your instruction.
Okay.
So you have to make sure that the kids would get information at home, so they could read books, they could go to the internet for info. But then the output, you have to make sure that it's based from what they think, from their experience.
That it's still original.
Yeah, that it's still original. You would know anyway.
Have you ever encountered that kind of difficulty? No, parang
when I was teaching humanities, but that was for college kids.
But that's for, in terms of a thesis
college,
or a research paper.
That one you could see. You could really know. But for kids, the art production is broken down in a series of three days. So actually, I meet them once a week. So I get to see their performance. Even if they let their classmate do it for them, I would know.
Because you can identify.
You can identify the style.
The style. Oh, you can identify the style. How about for 2-year-olds, 7-year-olds?
Ako, I think everything surrounding the child affects the child also. Like the music and then the technology now. Everybody has iPads and then with the internet, everything around them affects the child also. But kasi she's handling older kids, I don't give homeworks to my kids. So all projects or all activities are in school. Yan. So, and then I don't really teach also cut and paste. So they're all from scratch. They make their artworks.
All right, you talked to us earlier about inviting parents and then you discuss the artwork with the parents. So what are the reactions usually of the parents when they see the artwork that their children have produced during the workshop? Do they criticize, for example, or do they want
before
to see more?
Actually having an activity with the kids, I have to let the parents know what the activity is all about before we even start, just so they know what they're supposed to expect also. And I want, usually I ask them also, what do they expect from the child? So we converse first because some adults, they like the artwork of their child to be this way. Ganyan. Parang they have an output in mind already, which is not my style. Parang I don't like the kids to be compared with, like their products be compared with other products. Kasi it kills their creativity also, like when they're being compared, and then if the intention of comparing is to put them down. So I let them know what my goals are for this workshop, for example, and then just so they understand. And then when I invite the parents over, actually all the time my kids, they really like when their parents come over, so they can show their works, ganyan. And then they tell stories. They really like sharing about their works, and then sometimes it'll take them even up to 5 minutes talking straight about their artwork. They really like
having their parents.
Yeah, and then I think the parents, they appreciate it if their child is happy. And
how about in high school? Do you invite parents to discuss?
Yes,
the
of course.
artworks?
During art exhibits, when I was there, we had 3 art exhibits. So I always invite the parents. Plus, I also ask them to sponsor the parent
the exhibit.
Sponsor the food, the cocktails there.
Yes,
So
but
you really
what
have
are
to invite?
Yeah, what are the reactions of the parents of high school kids when they see their children's art, displayed or exhibited? I mean,
Some of those talented ones, the kids, they bring their work home. The parents are the ones who tell me, oh, she worked on that for like 5 hours. She didn't study any other subject except do the artwork. Sometimes even the teachers would come to me complaining, your artwork, it's being done in, for example, like math class. So then I have to talk to the child, and you're not supposed to do that. But deep inside, I'm happy. I'm like, at least the child loves what the project is all about.
actually, as you said, art classes only take 1 hour. I mean, it's just one subject of 3, and then it's 1 out of 8 every hour that the high school student goes to school.
Yes.
Do you think it should be increased, or I don't know if we're heading that direction in terms of art education, but do you think 1 hour is enough when it comes to teaching high school kids?
Yes, I think 1 hour is enough, considering that I handled about 35 students times 18 sections. Yeah, 18 sections. Every week.
Wow, that's a lot.
That's a lot. That's a lot of kids.
for one teacher.
For one teacher, that's a lot of kids.
Do you
So if there's more, I'm gonna die.
yeah, is there stress also on an art teacher, for example, when you teach art, and how do you cope with it? Is there such a thing as stress for an art teacher?
In my case, no. It's
Wala
always fun, and then sometimes the joy of being an art teacher is you never know what's gonna happen in your class. Parang, because your creativity, what's in your mind, is different from each of your students. So sometimes they can come up with the craziest things, and then they tell you their stories, they tell you their dreams. So it's really or a learning experience also.
But if it was increased to 35 sections of
I wouldn't accept that class.
What would be the ideal size art class? How many students?
Depends on the age
On the
level, I
age.
think.
The age.
Kasi for me,
Yeah, for you, for
I
2
don't want to
to
handle
10.
a class that's like more than 12 or something.
So that's a maximum that you'd allow for an art class
For really young
kids
yeah.
from
so
2
that
years
you
old to
can
10.
attend to each one of them, because maybe someone likes to tell a story, and then, oh teacher, I want to tell a story, oh teacher, I want to tell a story. It's hard to get to know all of their ideas.
Yes, you will not be able to give time to each and everyone if they all tell stories.
Yes,
And
kasi
more
they're
than
really
10.
very vocal at that age. Parang sometimes they don't know how to wait for their turn, so they really want to tell their story now. Or
How about in high school? What would be the ideal class, as size of a class? How many students should there
If
be?
I were given my way, about 20.
20
But that's
students.
impossible.
Yes, because you're in high school, so
Yeah,
I
they're really a lot. I think, they're really a lot.
So do you have a backlog of things to check when you get home, or not necessarily?
Before, yes, but you have to really time manage. It's not stressful in the classroom. It's stressful because you have to meet deadlines. Your grades has to be in, and you have to encode it. And then you have to give it back. When you give it back, you don't just give it back. You give back, and then you explain why. So you're supposed to... You're supposed to give good constructive criticism, or else the child will keep on repeating the same problem, the same issue.
But not mistake, just the same problem or the same issue.
Yeah.
And also to improve their
To
technique.
improve, yes.
How about you, Ira? Do you have, because we were discussing writer's block or artist's block. Do you also have, have you ever experienced the same thing as well? Is there such a thing as, you want to draw but I can't draw? Is that in your personal experience as an artist?
Because I've never really had parang exhibits na you have to meet a deadline. But for me, if I don't feel like, if I don't have an idea to work with, I won't do it. I don't want to force myself to do something when there's no inspiration in the first place, because it'll just be trash for me. Parang,
Okay.
I let the idea come first. Like, even if I'm not in the mood for painting or drawing, and then when something comes up, like if I dreamt of something, I want to draw this. So the inspiration comes first before I
Before you
make time
draw.
to do it.
Okay. How long does it take you to finish an artwork? As you said, one of your students take 5 days, 5 hours, etc. How about you?
It depends, like on the size of your painting, or
It depends on
How inspired you are.
yes, and then if you have a lot of time to do it. Ganyan.
How about you, Ja? How long does it take you to paint or to draw? On the average.
Yeah, on the average, if I'm really forced.
Yeah, how many days do you spend on
One
painting?
day.
Oh, one day lang? You finish your painting in a day?
No, because
No.
I work on a different medium. So I have to coil the tissue. So it's sort of like a collage. And then it's a relief, it pops out. And then you have to wait for it to dry. So you really have to be patient.
The drying
it really
period
depends on
sometimes
the medium
takes long also.
Okay. Well, poets before have discussed this, that they're more productive when they're heartbroken. For example, that's when the inspiration comes in for songs and for for poetry, for writers. How about for artists, for visual artists? Is it the same, or does inspiration come regardless of a painful experience? Ira.
I think it's part of it, because really art is your expression, di ba, of your emotion. So sometimes, I've done artworks also based on, like when I'm really, really sad, I know the artworks that I make. And then sometimes I make also, I write songs when I'm really, really sad, or sometimes I write songs when I'm really, really happy. So emotions are a big part of the creative
creating.
process. Yeah.
How about you, Ja? Have you created artwork when you were heartbroken or when
I
you
did.
painful experiences?
It was a pastiche of Van Gogh's Starry Night. But it wasn't starry, it was black.
I made also like a starry night.
So for
Yeah.
example that way. But you see things in a gleam way. It's gloomy.
Then while you're painting, you're so emotional.
Yeah, but it helps to release also
Yes.
your emotions. It helps you get on with life.
And then it keeps you also distracted. Like instead of
very-
thinking all those
yeah.
things, parang you're doing something really productive.
Do you ever look at that painting again? I mean,
Yes,
or
it's
still
up
have
in my
it?
room.
But now that you look back to it, does the painting remind you of that sad part of your life, or what do you experience when you look at your past works?
I know the where
History,
each
yeah.
painting, parang the history and inspiration of each painting.
How about you, Ja? What do you feel when you look at your past works on display?
Happy that you were sad.
Sort of. Happy that you were sad, but at the same time, I think it's sort of like writing also. When you do something, you have to leave it first. And then after an hour maybe, you go back. If you look at it and you like it, then you're onto something really nice. So at the end of it, when you go back, still, after maybe a day, slip it over. When you go back and then you still like it, oh, that's really nice. And you could really say that that's really nice and you're proud of it. Then it's good. Doesn't matter, for me, it doesn't matter what anyone says.
Yes.
If I really like
It's
it, at
personal
the end of,
talaga.
It's very personal.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your experiences with us right here on GNN. I hope you learned a lot about from our guests, Sheena and Ja. Thank you again for joining us right here on CSR. Join us again next week right here on GNN. Larry Bruhard will join you next Wednesday right here on CSR. Thank you and good night.